and serving on those boards and going through leadership programs, as far as Emerge, Serve, and Lakeland, serving on boards and committees, focus on leadership, going through that program too, that civic program, Leadership Lakeland, going through that civic program, and getting ready to graduate from Leadership Hope, going through those civic programs. I said I got to take it a step further and be at the table where it counts. So that's the reason why I started running for political office. I ran in 2006 assistant for the State House Representative District 40, and in 2018, each time I gained ground, I did something that was kind of dramatic. In the 2018 race, I collected over 17,000 petitions plus 18,000 petitions were certified, which qualified me to be on the ballot. And I believe in going door to door. That's the reason why I got involved. And that's the problem.
And then what area are you?
Oh, the area that I'm running for, that I reside in, is Southeast District B. But the one thing that everyone that I didn't know, pretty much in my younger years, learning about politics and policy and the law, is that just because it's a Southeast District B, which covers Edgewood, Cumbie Road, Crystal Lake area, Half Lake, Hollingsworth, New Jersey, Sylvester, Easton, those areas right there, that's not the voting area. This is a citywide election. A citywide election. And this is where we, as Afro-Americans, I think we fall a little bit on that because we think it's just a jurisdiction election, and it's not. Each election is a citywide election you should know that. And it's very important that you stay educated on the election process, just like you may not know after the general election, if one of the candidates don't get 50% of the vote, which is state law, you're going to have a runoff. That's where we fall off at. That's why I lost that. We turn out in a special election. We turn out in a special election. I commend us as Afro-Americans voting in that special election. But I tried to get the word out as much as I could, but we fell short, but we got a second chance to bring it back. But remember, in each municipality election, or each election period, you have to have 50% of the vote over. And, could I ask you a question? Okay. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
And I'm glad that he mentioned that, because when I was doing research on the election that he was just in, because he's actually running against Mike Music, and Mike Music is going to serve out the rest of the 8-month period of the person whose seat he got, because that person got elected to the U.S. House, right? So Mr. Terrell gets to challenge him again in November, which is the big election. But in the election before, just because like what he was saying, because he didn't get that 50% that he needed, which he was ahead of Mike Music, he actually beat him the first time. But then when the runoff came, they were really, really tight. Like Mike Music only got like 50.7% of the votes. So listen to how tight that race is. And if you looked at the data behind that, of our voting population in Lakeland, anybody want to take a guess at how many people came out percentage-wise? I'm going to just go to the audience. How many people you think who could vote in the election? How many people, this is not black, this is not just white, this is not just any subgroup of the entire population of voters in Lakeland. How many people do you think showed up for that vote?
You're talking about for the special election runoff?
For the runoff.
Okay.
For the runoff. Yes. You know, we knew you were on fire for the special election, but for the runoff, how many people do you think voted? About 80%. About 80%? Not even close. But that's a good try. It's lower. It's lower. How many people? 30%. 30%. That's less than 50%, right? Not even close. It's lower. It's lower. How many people? I'm going to go to an adult, my young adult, who looks like, you know, you're going to be forever young, right? Our Florida Gator. Okay. I have a memory like an elephant with microphones on. All right. How many people do you think showed up? 7%. 7%. It was even. I'm just playing. It was higher than 7%. It was higher than 7%. It was higher than 7%. Anybody want to take a guess?
He got his hand up.
Last guess. How many people?
20%.
20%. So it's in between 7 and 20%. It was 15, around 15%. Rounded up, go to 16%. It was only 15% of Lakeland's total population. And you know what I think happened? I think exactly what he just said happened. You look at the jurisdiction and you just thought, oh, well, this area, that's not where I live, so why do I need to vote? Well, that was an election that everybody in Lakeland should have come out to vote for. And so that's some things that we're going to pick upon, because I want you guys to learn these little nuggets dealing with politics. I need for you guys to know these things that will help everyone, help the community, especially if you are able to vote. Yes, sir.
Real quick to the audience, it's very important for you to know each commissioner, although they have a jurisdiction area, we have 2 at large, well 3 at large. You have the mayor, then you have 2 city commissioners. It's very important for you to know that each commissioner is supposed to cover all Lakeland, not only the area they reside in. They're supposed to pass legislation, fair policy, and procedures for all the city of Lakeland. And to put a pin in that, only lost by 147 votes. Yes. And we got more than, I'm talking about, if I would have had that same special election runoff, that special election transferred over, we won't be standing there today. Not talking about me being another candidate, but running for the same seat to re-elect. But it's fine. We got a second chance to redeem ourselves, and we can do this together and reach this goal. And I promise you, Mr. Jeffrey and I will get together and celebrate, try to feed the whole community like it. I'm talking about, we win this thing. That's the goal, okay?
And when we do, and when we do, Mr. Jeffrey, I want to be the first person in line for some crack cake. So, that crack cake. And I want me some seafood. Just, I said it here, okay? Okay. All right. Ms. Lewis, tell us your why, and then tell us the jurisdiction that you're running for, the area that you're running for.
Okay. So I'm gonna just keep it honest with you, right? And I'll correct it on the back end if I have to, right? I'm running because I'm tired of the games, right? Well, okay, fine, I'll be nice. I'm running because I got tired of me asking why, and I got tired of others asking why. Specifically, the Black and brown community, right? Although I'm running to serve all people, but I got tired of us asking why. And the reason why we ask why, the reason why you normally ask why do we ask why, students? Because we don't know and we want to what? We want to know. And in order for us to know, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be at the table. So again, out of all my folks, I said, you know what? I'm going to be that one, right? To run forward, to get to our why, so I can tell my people the why. Because we've been asking why for a mighty long time. Now, let me, since I'm talking to children, right? And I know my adults are in here, but specifically my students, right? Understand this. Government is not top down. Well, Allison, what do you mean by top down, right? You students are calling me Miss Lewis, right? Top down is federal, state, local, right? Government is down, up. Local, state, federal, right? Understand your local government. Your politics is local. So if you can tell me what's going on at the federal, but can't tell me what's going on at the local, we have a problem. And you understand, you really don't know what's going on at the federal, right? So really engulf yourself, right? Immerse yourself into your local government. And again, ladies and gentlemen, as I stated in my opening, I am running, think about it like a seed, right? We have to plant this seed in the ground, right? And your seed is what grows. And if you don't nurture the seed, and our seed is our local government, and if you don't nurture that seed, we're going to continue to get these dead plants. And that's why we always find that our Black and brown community is always on the outs, because we do not nurture our local seed. We do not nurture that seed in the ground, which is why we get dead plants. And that is why I'm putting myself out there. So you all can have shoulders to stand on, so I can have an answer to your why, because I don't know about you all, but I ask 1,000 questions. And that's how come I've gotten where I've gotten at 27 years old. Because at the end of the day, I need to know the why. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're on the outside, they're on the inside, right? And in order for us to understand what's going on the inside, We need to be on the inside of the table finding out what's going on. Because let me tell you another secret. Them on the inside own everything on the outside. So you need to have somebody that's transparent and accountable, right? And that's going to be transparent and accountable to you, right? In order for you to grow. And that's all while I'm running. This, yes, it's personal, but it's nothing personal. It's all about you. I'm allowing you all to plant me in the ground, right, to stand on my shoulders so you all can blossom into beautiful flowers. Thank you.
All right.
The area that I'm running in is the Southwest District. So a lot of y'all probably know about Ariana Beach Avenue, over there by the RP Funding Center, all the way close to out to Airport Road. So all that area over there, okay? That's where I'm running. But again, you can vote. If you are in the city limits, as Dr. Terrell was saying, if you are in the city limits, vote. You are over 18 years old, find your local precinct and vote. It doesn't matter what district I'm running for, Dr. Terrell's running for, Washington's running for. It doesn't matter. Come and vote, because when they print your ballot, all of us going to be on there, and you can bubble in Shandale Terrell, Allyson Lewis, Jarvis, Washington, right? So there we go.
Thank you for giving another round of applause. Thank you so much. And now Mr. Jarvis, Washington. And I'm going to stay over here by Jarvis, because I don't like just having you go last all the time. But we did know a little bit about your why, but tell us a little bit more about your why you're running, and then what district you're serving, what district you're trying to win. What district will you serve?
Okay. And it's all right. You don't have to feel bad about making me go laugh. Taking notes. No, I just play with you guys. So why? If I can be completely honest with you guys, I've always had a passion for politics. Like I said, when I was in high school, I was a part of student government almost every year in high school. When I went to college, I went to college for political science. It wasn't until I left college and I seen, and to be honest, I was no longer sheltered by the system of institutions. When, whether it be middle school, high school, college, in general, as long as you're in the system, it's hard for you to realize everything that's going around you. So once I broke away from the college institution in general, is when I started to notice that I wasn't living the American dream. So for the longest, once I left college, I didn't want anything to do with politics, because I felt like had I not left, I would have been doing everything else like every other politician, because I wouldn't have seen the other perception of the people who I would have said I would have been serving. I would have been too far disengaged from you guys. So for about 4 or 5 years, I didn't even want anything to do with politics. When I had structured my life on, being a politician, I structured my life on serving for the people. I had done it so well. And prior to the new age of politics, which is quid pro quo, which means, what are you going to do for me if I put you in office? I've always stood on the fact of, what do you guys need, and I can give it to you. That's what politics is. We are delegating on behalf of you guys. Like I said, put me in the ground, so we can ask the questions why. Well, I'm basically saying, what do you guys need, and let me give it to you. That's the purpose of a politician. If you're electing anybody into the office, and they can't give you what you need, and come up with an agenda, and you just clap your hands and say, that sounds great, but no one in the community contributed to this plan at all, how can we really say it's for us? So me moving forward, even when I become the commissioner, I'll go ahead and put it out. So when I become a commissioner, I'm going to look to start a commissioner's advisory board for myself. So the different things that we go through, I want to be informed on a lot of different topics that I do not know about. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything. I got all the answers. Vote for me. I'm going to get you right. No. Tell me what you need. Tell me how I can help. Tell me what I don't know. And, my wife is sitting right here. She knows everything that I do, and everything, my success has been from me listening. Everything that I have been able to do, everything that I've accomplished in my life has been from listening. I got 6 keys to success. Rule number 1 is listen. Rule number 2 is stay humble. Rule number 3 is think. Rule Rule number 4 is learn. Rule number 5 is react. And rule number 6 is teach. So you have to listen to get the information. You have to stay humble to regurgitate the information. You have to be able to make sure that you get everything that's presented. You may not like everything that someone is saying, or you may not like the person that's telling you, but are you going to dismiss the whole conversation because you didn't like that one thing? Sometimes you got to suck it up. Especially here in politics, you have to suck it up. You have to push past because you have to remember the candidate or the next commissioner sitting next to you, he only got elected because he promised these group of individuals he's going to represent them. So why am I upset at him for doing what he was elected to do? It's my job to listen to you guys and move forward. That's rule number 2, stay humble. Rule number 3, I have to think. What was he telling me? What don't I know? How can I figure it out? That roll into rule number 4, with learning. You can't learn unless you ask questions. When you're in school, if you don't know, your teacher, what you tell them? Every time. After you get done explaining your examples, after you're going through teaching your lecture, is it any questions? You're a doctor. Is it any questions? But everything that you said prior to that, the most important thing that you said was, is it any questions? So it's up to you if you want to learn to engage in that question. Rule number 5, you got react. React is the implementation of you learning. Everything that you learn. Your reaction is your trial and error. Don't be scared to fail. If you never reacted on anything that you learned, did you ever really learn it? Did you? Did you take any time to put any effort into what you just had to sit through? You guys sitting right through. If you don't remember anything, remember the 6 keys to success. And then you go back. That's your learning process. Now you have. That's your reaction. Now you have your teach. You teach. So how do you know that someone really knows something? If I can teach it to you. If I can't teach it to the next person, I really don't understand what I thought that I understood. I have to be able to teach it to you in this perspective. If you can't understand it like that, I have to be able to teach it to you this way and then this way. If not, I don't fully understand the spectrum that I claim I'm advocating on. And that's rule number 6. So if you guys don't pull any way away from this, those are the principles that I stand on an everyday basis. I'm running for commissioner at large. That's for the whole city of Lake. I'm running for transparency. Honestly, I'm running for, because I'm born and raised right here in Lake. I grew up right off 2nd Street, Joy Avenue, Candy Street. That's where I'm from. And, I don't have any problem saying that. I don't try to hide one from them. I stay on the other side of town right now and still trying to get back on this side of town. Every day. I'm looking for another house. That's the truth. So I'm running because it's a lot of people being mixed. White, black, Asian, in general. A lot of people are being mixed. I have Black Lives Matter on my shirt. So don't think just because I'm saying white, black, Asian, I'm forgetting who I am. I'm not. But in the full spectrum of things, in the government, if I was the government, it would only make sense for me to help the black community. Why? Because I'm pushing out X amount of dollars every year for welfare. I'm pushing out X amount of dollars every year for government housing, vouchers for X, Y, and Z. But if I create an economic base for the black community to build off of, what do? Now I'm spending less money in welfare. I'm spending less money in government assistance. It's about creating self-sufficiency programs. I'm going to be big on creating self-sufficiency programs. So it's not that I'm here to be biased. I'm just being honest. If we can lift up one group of people as an investment, the return on that investment could be millions of dollars in taxes for the city. Just for helping one group of individuals. And then on the other side of that, we can cut the cost of spending. So am I coming in here to say, I'm just advocating on black people? A little bit. But at the same time, I'm advocating on low-income communities. The whole zip code of 33815, which 51% of the individuals underneath the poverty line, that's not all black people. That's this area right here. So we can focusing on the areas that are in high needs just focusing on the areas alone. If I say I'm going to cover the whole 33815 zip code, 33805 zip code, 338, 03 zip code, which low poverty rates, that's where we stay at. That's 10th Street, Olive Street, Crystal Grove. It covers the area of where we're at. And I think right now the politicians in play, we're focusing too much on building industries and warehouses that we can't even get to. We have a terrible job at transportation as far as getting individuals to jobs that we have in the city. And in the city right now is looking at business looking, well, we can't get anybody to go to work. When individuals that you actually need to be working at your warehouse, none of them have cars. And you put your warehouse away in the county line. So what do you expect? So we have to get back to, we have to stop outsourcing and focus on what are the needs of the individuals that are here right now. How can we help the individuals that are here right now and stop trying to, let's bring in more people so we can create competition, so we can, it's too much. We're already missing too many things. We're not doing that. We're creating a bigger race of dependents. Now, I'm trying to create a self-sufficient group of individuals throughout the city. A large part of that, to see Mr. Williams come back, I definitely want to thank him again for letting me see the different opportunities that I could have. Because, to be honest, had he not taken me to different places, had we not had these backroom groups where I see black people working in a collective mission to do something positive, had I not seen that, I would have continued to think the only thing we had was games, rap music, and sports. So I'm here to bring a different perspective to the table. I'm here to be the voice of the individual. I'm here to run for the common man, just like me and you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that response. All right, everybody say class is in session. Louder than that, y'all still at a 1. Let's at least take it to a 5. Everybody say class is in session.
Class is in session.
All right, so class is in session. I need you to look and talk to me like you are an active listener. So I need you sitting straight up in your seat. Your back should be as flat as a board, as straight as a board, and need eye contact at all times. I need for each and every one of you to recite the 6 rules of Mr. Washington's road to success. Y'all ready? Number 1. Number 2. Okay, number 3. Think. Number 4. Okay, number 5. Number 6. All right, I was just checking because if you guys promised me to be active listeners, then you would have been able to recite at least 3 of them. We're here today to learn about the candidates. You know their background. You know them when they were 15, around your age. You know them and what they stand for today. You know the areas that they are running for. You know their why. But how many of you know about politics? Still a little shaky sometimes, but I know how to read and I know how to do my research. How many of you know exactly what a commissioner does? Anybody? All right. So we're going to learn. Everybody say we're about to learn.
We're about to learn.
Everybody say we are about to learn.
We are about to
We are
learn.
about to learn what, in fact, a commissioner does. Now, one of the things I really like before we even got started today, because when I do an event like this, I like to have my eyes and my ears very keenly attuned to what's going on around me. And one of the things that I did see, one of the things that I did hear was great camaraderie with these candidates. Yes, they are all running for different parts of our city. However, the common ground is that they're each trying to get to the same goal. And one of the things that I thought was the dopest ever, and I'm sorry, that's just my little term, that's just what I use. One of the most phenomenal things that I heard this group do was to chat with one another. They were asking questions to one another. Mr. Terrell was giving information, kind of like insider information to this role of politics. And I just want to say that was an amazing thing that you did, and I think that's what we should all do, because he has a different level of expertise when it comes to politics. You heard all the things that he's done in terms of being on the verge, on several different advisory boards. And that's your way in, because then you meet the key players in our city, in our district. You link yourselves to these people, you link yourselves to these like-minded people, and then you hear their conversations, you hear what's important to them, you hear the movers and who are the shakers in our city. That's a chess move, but that's also just being smart. That's knowing what you're doing. He knows that he wants to run for commissioner, so why not do that? That's what you're supposed to do, right? So I just want to throw it to each and every one of you, and actually it's whoever wants to answer the question, Ashley. Can you explain to our youth what in fact a commissioner does?
Yes, as a city commissioner, their ultimate goal is to make sure that the beautification of the city is functioning well as far as infrastructure with roads, affordable housing, which is the top priority right now for the city of Lakeland, making sure we have affordable housing in place, and making sure when that affordable housing is in place for those residents take care of that housing and that property, because that's very important, because when the city offers you an opportunity for affordable housing, I think it's very responsible for that resident to take care of that property. Then we have the buildings as far as electric and water, sewage, everything that is functioning within the city of Lakeland that you see, a city of Lakeland utility truck. Those are the things that the city commissioner is governing. More importantly, again, that city commissioner, just because he or she resides in a certain area, doesn't mean they're not supposed to represent all and the whole community within the city of Lakeland, because the south side was look like this side. It is very important that everybody know that, and you have a voice. Just to let you know that the city of Lakeland has the largest Afro-American voters in Polk County. You can do anything that you want to do with your vote, but you got to stay in tune with these local elections. These local elections are vital. You can vote for the state house rep, like this young lady stated. You can vote for the state senator, U.S. congressman. I'm going on a little bit. You can vote for the U.S. senator and president all you want to, but they don't have nothing on this lower base that a city commission can do. They don't. The only thing we get from the federal government are the people funds. That's the money that is sent down, that we budget, that we supposed to receive annually. The millions, the hundreds of millions of dollars for projects, programs within the city of Lakeland. And it's very important for you to know that if the city commission only doing projects on the south side, are they equaling and balancing on the north side too? It's very important. But I'm seeing some development now, some positive things that's taking place on the northwest and the north side too. I'm seeing that with all honesty. But more can be done. And I think it's very important for you to know that the responsibility for the city commission, everything that you see functioning as far as the roads, the sidewalks, the electric poles, sewage, water, affordable housing, special projects and programs within the city of Lakeland. That's pretty much what the city commissioner is over, in addition to the mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for answering that question. All right, so what's the city commissioner?
Something like people.
Very good. Tell me one thing that they are responsible for doing.
Keep the budget in check.
All right.
Good
Definitely
job.
have to do that. City commissioner, what do they do?
Help out the community.
How do they help out the community specifically?
Helping out with redoing roads and keeping the budget in check.
All right. And so Mr. Terrell said something that was very important, that if I'm running for a city commissioner and I live on the south side, what is my responsibility to everyone? What's my responsibility? Anybody want to take on that? Am I just going to serve the people that elected me for my region? What am I responsible for if I'm a city commissioner? If I'm a Lakeland city commissioner, what am I responsible for? What did he say?
To create balance on both sides.
Very good, very key word to create balance for the entire city, not just for your region, but for the entire city. All right, so y'all passed that little test, little trickery that I just did because I want to continue to do that, right? So, Al or Jarvis, how many city commissioners do we have in Lakeland? Like, I mean, is there a set number that we have? I mean, okay, so how many do we have?
So altogether, you have, so as Dr. Terrell said, you have the mayor, then you have 2 at-large seats, you have the northwest, the northeast, southwest, and southeast. So altogether, it's a total of 7. It's the total of 6, but including the mayor, it's 7. So you have 7. Is that just?
Yes, that did answer my question. So how many do we have?
7.
How many do we have?
7.
You gotta say that a little bit louder. I know I am not cranking it and big. How many do we have?
7.
7. All right, good job. So we know what a commissioner is, what they do. We know how many we have in Lakeland. And my next question was, let's see. Mr. Jarvis, tell us about the process that it took. Now you can decide that you want to be a city commissioner, but what is that process like? Because one day, maybe someone sitting in these seats may want to run for a city commissioner. What do you have to do? What are your steps?
Well, as a city commissioner, for one, you need to be passionate about it. For 2, you have to meet with the clerk of the city. You're going to set up a meeting. She's going to give you a packet and go over everything that you need. You're basically going to be responsible for filing. If you raise any money, you have to do campaigns. It's basically putting yourself out to the community in a nutshell, and telling everyone what you stand for. You'll be doing debates, which is you versus another candidate on hot button topics. And you also have to do a lot of legwork. I mean, you have to get into the streets. You have to go door to door. You have to pass out flyers. You have to show up at events. You have to talk to the community. I mean, in a nutshell. So it's a process. You can't just, well, you can just put your name on the ballot and say you're gonna run. But if you actually want to win, you have to do real work. You have to put your boots on the ground.
Thank you so much. So tell me one thing you have to do. What's the first thing you have to do? I like how you are very active and engaged listener. Thank you for that.
Be passionate about it.
You definitely have to be passionate about it. Why do it if you're not going to be passionate about it? What else do you have to do? Because there's a formal procedure that you have to follow if you want to try to win. What do you have to do? Set up a meeting with who? Want to tell her again? The clerk. The city clerk. All right, so set a meeting with the city clerk, right? So that's what you're going to have to do. You heard him?
You said city?
The county clerk.
City clerk.
The city clerk. All right, so the city clerk. I thought you were telling me county. I'm sorry. Okay, so with the city clerk. And you're going to have boots on the ground. Everybody knows what that is, right? That means that you're going to have to follow the footsteps of Mr. Shandale Terrell, because I can see him. I'm telling you, I can see him at any location, and he is there. He's ready. He's ready to talk to you about any type of topic, any type of, let's see, what is he asked? What were you asking, Sign?
Petition.
A petition, baby, because like the word is right in my head, I can't even say it like petition. So he's on top of every issue, basically here in Lakeland, and that's his job to be, just like the rest of our candidates who are very well informed as well. Ms. Lewis, you register to be on the ballot. You start campaigning. I see from your flyers and from your promotional packet, you have a goal and you have money on that flyer, because it takes money to enable you to win and get to the position that you want to be in. So talk to us about some of the strategies that you've done in order to raise funds for your campaign, and then are there any rules that you have to follow with that?
So yes, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it takes money to win a campaign, and where a lot of us, and see, I keep reverting back to black and brown folks, right? Because it's not that we don't run, right, in elections. A lot of us, a percentage of us, we do run, but you know what happens to us? Not only do we falter in votes, but a lot of us falter in money, right? Because we don't understand the significance of when you're running a campaign costs money. I'm not going to reveal the amount. Like, I launched my campaign, I guess, 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. I'm not going to tell you how much money I've already loaned
You're the ball
my campaign already, right? And if you want to know, you can go to public records and find that out, right? And so, listen, you can't accept cash. You can accept cash, but it can't be over $100, right? So if somebody try to come to you and you're running a campaign, $50. Okay, excuse me. Sorry. Thank you for the correction. So if someone comes to you and give you $1,000 cash, take it if you want to, right? But don't take it. Also, you cannot get a cashier's check because that's just like cash. Money order, right? And or a personal check. And what I have done, I've set up, it's Antidote, and it's a fundraising that a lot of people use for their fundraisers. It's safe and secure. So you go in, put your information in there. I don't see your information. Only thing I see is how much money you donated to me, and I see your name and your address, so I can place it on public record. And it'll be nice to call them and ask them, hey, would you like a t-shirt in exchange, or can I put a yard sign out there, or something of that nature, or a thank you card. My goodness, that's the least you can do as a candidate, right? It's not going to get some money. You can at least tell them thank you with a smaller gift, right? And so yes, again, my strategy is, hey, yes, I need the money, but at the end of the day, I just can't say, hey, give me $5 for my campaign. No, you need to know what I'm going to do, right? You need to know, hey, you have children, right? What are the programs that are you going to advocate for youth programs, right? We have an entire international airport out there, right? That our children, if you have a child, 8th, 9th, 10th, or 11th grade, you can it's the Central Aerospace Academy, right? You all can sign your children up if you're interested. Listen, if you're interested in drones, interested in flying airplanes, you can send them right out there to the international airport, and they can learn how to fly airplanes for free, right? It's an international airport, Lakeland International Airport. They can learn how to fly airplanes for free, right? So I really need to be privy to that information, because a lot of us don't know that. A lot of us don't know the information that's out there. So I said all that to say, I got all off target again, but I said all that to say, yes, it takes money. There are rules to this game. Ensure, if you have the desire to run students, please, the first line is integrity. Do not play with nobody's money. If you think that you're not going to do right by somebody's money, don't take it. I am particular on how listen, I have you should see, I have an Excel sheet, I have copies, I have this, and I have a treasurer. My treasurer and myself are doing it. And when we come together, guess what? We have the same information, right? I don't play with people's money because I'm not going to jail, and I didn't go to school to go to jail, right? I have a lot to lose, right? But do understand that it takes money, but we first have to be integral over somebody's dollar. Because if I can be integral about your money as a candidate, my God, you can only imagine what type of person I'm gonna be as an elected official, right? Horrible, right? So again, I'm integral with people's dollar. I don't play around with people's money, and that helps you with your signs. That helps you with your shirts. That helps you if you want to, grab something to eat. But really, it really helps with your advertisement. I've been pushing out so much advertisement. It helps you with different events that you put on for your community. It really does go a long way. But the final thing is those votes, right? $100 check do help. It does help because then you can put out more signs. Then you can do more things in the community, right? As far as with your campaign, so you can be more visible. Because if people don't see you, how are they going to know to vote? And those signs cost money, right? But most importantly, it's all about not just that dollar, but turning these likes into votes. Y'all can say, yeah, I like you. But if you don't turn that like into a vote, it's null and void, right? So that's that.
Thank you. You guys can give a round of applause for that.
Yes.
All right. So Mr. Terrell, so we registered. We have our candidacy there. We're going to be on the ballot. We know what to do funding wise. I wanted you to bring us home with, and that's exactly what you're saying. I want you to tell us more about the process to get here and to be able to share that you are a candidate to become the city commissioner, I want you to do that. But I also want you to tell me, because you've already been in an election, you may have been in elections. So you've gone through that process. I want you to walk us through the forums that you participated in, the types of questions that are thrown your way, what's important, etc., to be able to get the vote. All right? And then I'm going to bring it back to you, Jarvis, because then we're going to talk about voting. So in your brain, just be thinking about the ins and outs of voting, because after I talked to Mr. Terrell, we're going to segue right to you about the importance of voting and some ins and outs of voting.
I need to make a statement real quick about the number of registered voters within the city of Lakeland, Afro-Americans. We have 10,000 registered voters. So we should own some type of seats up there besides one. And I just wanted to let y'all know that. With the process of filing, like Mr. Jarvis stated, you do meet with the city clerk, but then you have to go to the bank to open up a small business account. It's separate. It's not a regular bank account. It's a small business account, and you have to have that business account under your campaign name. And the checks got to be under your campaign name. Bobby Hayes, for City of Lakeland Commissioner, Southeast District B. And those checks have to be precise. In addition to what this young lady stated, it's very important that you do not play with anybody money, because those campaign funds particularly have to be used for campaign signs and advertising. You can look it up. There have been some candidates, not only on the city commission, county commission, state house representative, majority, and U.S. Congress and U.S. Senate that have been in jail for faulty campaign funds. So that's very important. Then the process, as far as the process. Okay, we're candidates right now. You have a qualifying process to take place between August and September. That's when you have to introduce to the clerk your tax information, any liabilities that you have, a financial affidavit, so to say, which is very important. In addition to that, you have to provide proof of your license, your voter's registration card, and other paperwork have to be notarized, which is very important. And on top of that, once they approve the paperwork and everything is checked off, that's when you're an official candidate to be on the ballot for Tuesday, November the 2nd. Because this is just a campaign process right here. There's 2 phases in order to qualify to be on the ballot. You have to pay a campaign fee too. The campaign fee is about $500+ to be on the ballot. Or you can qualify by petition. In addition to that, once you qualify to be on the ballot, that's when all the questionnaires are going to come, all the political forms are going to come. You do not have to fill out every questionnaire if it doesn't fit your demeanor as far as you as a candidate. That's very important to know. In addition to the political forms, it's very important for you to know the issues and concerns, or have some type of grasp about the issues and concerns of the area that you're serving, and you being a political candidate. You don't have to know it all, like Mr. Jarvis stated, and this young lady right here stated. I want to say her name, right? Lewis. Okay, Ms. Lewis stated. But it's very important for you to have some type of grasp on the issues. The playing field is not fair, I can tell you that much. In the runoff that I was in, there was one political forum, I think the last political forum that was set up. I think it wasn't fair and just. I'm being real about it. And then, in addition to that, there was some foul play that took place where there was some lies that were stated. Someone who I expected took the other candidate to your community and said some things which hurt, but it's cool though. And that's pretty much it, but you have to understand that politics is not a fair game. You really have to have your facts down and know the issues and concerns. And once you know the issues and concerns, it's up to the voters, and those voters do watch the political forums. And it's very important for you to know that. So, with all that being said, you have to have a timeline from the time that you file to be a candidate, from the time that you qualify. Then you have to get out there and knock on those doors and make sure those constituents meet you. That's very important too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then, because we are wrapping it up in about 7 minutes or so, one of the most important things that I know that Mr. Williams wanted to cover was the Voting Rights Act, right? You guys went and you guys saw this movie with the Risk Club, right? You guys, what movie was that you guys saw? You guys remember? Mr. Williams, what movie did you take?
Selma.
Went to see Selma. And it was very important that our votes are still counted, that our votes, we show that our votes matter. And so, Jarvis, I just wanted you to just give us some background into the information that you know about the Voting Rights Act, because that act really restored over 4 million people right to vote. And it's very critical that once we have the right to vote, that we actually exercise that right to vote. So if you can just give us some ins and outs of voting, how important it is, and just let everybody know out there, because we do have some videography going on. We want to be able to come back and recap this information, how important our vote truly is.
So I definitely do know about the voting right law bill that was passed. I know more about it. More than just knowing about it, it was a part of getting the petition signed. So, I mean, they actually paid you for the petition. But on the other side of that, we did get over, I believe, about 300 signatures that we was able to get signed to get those voter rights back restored. So with that bill being passed, it wasn't just everybody who was a felon, they just got their rights back. They actually had to make sure they were up to date on their court fees and basically they had to basically pay all their dues. It wasn't just everybody's back. It was certain steps that they had to take to get those rights restored, and that's something that we're also advocating on too as well. We had about, I believe, about 2 to 4 million blacks as far as the national goal. What an organization that we was working with that was involved in Mr. King, the lover, that's Al Sharpton's brother. It was looking at about 2 million to 4 million blacks that they was trying to get rights restored. So it's a very big project, and it's very important. And the importance of voting is, it's just as simple. If you guys show up on election day, these 3 faces can be in the office. If you want to be any more simple than that, voting can be the difference between let's be simple. The voting can be the difference between you have the representation and you not. It can be the difference between if you go to school because of COVID or if you have to stay home. So voting in general is the only thing that's going to get us out of this situation that we're in as far as politics is concerned. Voting is the backbone of politics. It puts who you want into place. It can change an agenda. We can vote on almost anything that we want to be changed. If we don't like these red light cameras because 3,000 people has gotten red light tickets, we can all come together and vote to get it removed. So voting is your power of saying I like something or I don't like something. Don't think, just because a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on the national vote, on voting for president, and they say you don't have like a say-so on that vote. But don't think every vote is bad. Like I said, they have voting all the time. Just recently, they voted on budgets for the police department. They've been voting on body cameras for the police department. We vote on everything. So even in the school system. So don't never dismiss voting as, our voice doesn't matter. It's going to continue not to matter as long as you don't vote. As far as black people is concerned, I do believe that we should all vote in blocks. How can we do that? We have to get together like how we do now, discuss a plan and agenda on how we can move forward and what's best for the community. We shouldn't worry about who's the Democrat, who's the Republican, who's the Libertarian, and we should focus more on what agenda are they presenting. What am I going to get from this policy, not from this candidate? It doesn't matter what the individual looks like, and what color, what he has on, if he has straight hair, if it's a woman. it doesn't matter what the individual looks like. It matters what plan, agenda, and policy that they're presenting. And they're not presenting any of those things, and they're just kind of giving you, that spill like I'll fight for you and we the people. Then you're not really going to get anything in return. And don't never vote, base your voting off of who makes you feel good. I don't care. I do care to a large extent of what a politician says, but I care more on what policies are they passing, what agenda are they trying to push. I know a lot of individuals, words get taken out of context. We have media, and sometimes, they don't get to fully express everything that they're trying to say. Not defending anyone, they should definitely, take their time and say what they're trying to say. But in the spirit of understanding, I understand that if you make a decision based off what, how you feel about what the politician said, not based off of the agenda and the plan that they're presenting, you're going to lose every time. That's what I got to say.
You can give him a round of applause. All right. And as we wrap this up, do I have one person who wants to ask a question to the candidate? Is there anybody who wants to ask a question? I do want to give you that opportunity. And then I'll let the candidate say their, final spiel. Then Mr. Williams is making his way up to the front because I smell chicken, and that speaks to me. Okay. So, what's your question?
I was wondering, everyone was kind of mentioning how they really appreciate the lower level of government. Do y'all want to work your way up, or are you okay staying local?
That's a very good question.
Repeat the question. We didn't get
Yes, so she said she heard how, do you want to repeat it or do you want me to repeat it? Okay, so she just said that she heard everyone say the importance of the lower levels of government and how it's the base and how it's important. Do you have any aspirations of going higher than local government, or is local government the place for you? And I'll let each candidate just ask Mike to answer that.
My ultimate goal is to be elected as a city elected commissioner, turn out, and then if the opportunity present itself, I would like to go for a higher office. Yes.
For me, listen, I just not necessarily roll with the flow, but at the end of the day, I think time reveals itself. Because again, this is, yes, I'm running for the city commissioner, but who knows? I may want to stay local. I may want to go further, but time reveals itself. I was always taught to understand where you are, master that, do that well, and then time will reveal if you're ready for the next level, or if you should go to the next level.
I do have aspirations of moving up. Like I said, I've always wanted to be a part of politics. I feel like my goal as a young politician is to groom the next wave of leaders. I feel like if I don't keep going, then the next young person will feel like, hey, this is my cap, or when you take the next step, well, is that my cap? And if I take another step, well, is that my cap? And if I keep stepping, I personally would feel like I'm just gonna keep pulling the rope. And it's not gonna be, hey, should I keep running for this commissioner seat? It's gonna be, hey, I have Jimmy who just turned 20 years old that's very big in politics, and he just got done graduating, or he's in college and he wants to. So I think it's my job, and I want a person to take on that job to groom the next generation of leaders. And we have to make sure, and I feel that's another reason why the civil rights movement kind of died down, is because we didn't plan for the next generation of leaders, not as for the speech that we put out, but we didn't set up institutions that would focus majority on the success and the process of Black empowerment. We had, a couple things that popped off, but nothing on a national level. It was no agenda or plan-based agenda, or even an individual or individuals to say, hey, I'm going to be this role model presenting this plan-based agenda of the new next young generation of leaders. And after that era ended, we kind of got relaxed as Black people. We kind of went more for, let me get a good job, let me make some money, and I'm kind of leave all that politics alone. My grandma did all of that. That's why it didn't work. You know, and I was kind of swinging back around. You know how the pendulum works. So it's kind of swinging back around. And this time we have to make sure we put ourselves in a position for the generations to come so they're not still having this fight. So I do think that I'm going to continue to keep going.
All right.
All right. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. It's a phenomenal experience. I think we're going to have to do a part two because there's so much knowledge here. And it looks like the students are scholastically astute listening. But I know some of them have to make it up for makeup testing tomorrow. I've been proctoring every day and they wear me out with that. So, we do have plenty of food here. If you need a to-go box, you can get that. We continue to need support for the Risk Club. So we still need 1,000 people to give $100 so that we can raise $100,000 because what I do has a major impact. So we've seen people over the last 6-7 weeks. And Mr. Jeffrey don't touch a lot of people over the years. But like I tell them, I'm from right down the road. That's Kettles right there. Kettles leads to Dakota Projects where the roaches do backflip off the countertops, rats never through the wall, had a fan in the window, knocking the dirt crumbs off our feet before we went to bed at night. So, but at the end of the day, we got to set the next group up for success. So that's what I do all day, every day. I don't coach sports, I coach success. But if you want to help Risk Club, you can always call me, 863-888-0468. You can always cash at me as well, $, capital T-E-E-N, capital K-I-N-G. Or you can just write out a check, a money order, and we do take cash over $50. You can, we do that too, so you can write the checks out to Risk Club. But we'd like to thank everybody for coming out, get you some food, eat good. We got the Nino Black crack cake, we got the chicken, box it up, get your 2-piece, 3-piece, 4-piece, get what you want, but want what you get. Thank you, God bless, good night, bye-bye.